In the quiet, fog-shrouded town of Ravenwood, a sense of unease had settled over the inhabitants. A string of gruesome murders had gripped the community in fear, as the killer's identity remained shrouded in mystery. Each victim had met a gruesome end, their lifeless bodies bearing the unmistakable mark of a twisted and malevolent hand. The first murder was that of Sarah Monroe, a reclusive artist who lived in a small, dilapidated cottage on the outskirts of town. She had been found in her studio, her once vibrant paintings now splattered with blood. Her throat had been slashed, and her lifeless eyes stared into nothingness. The word art was scrawled in crimson across the walls. Detective Alex Walker was assigned to the case. He had seen his fair share of grisly crimes, but there was something about this one that sent a chill down his spine. As he combed through the evidence, a disturbing pattern emerged. Each victim was an artist, and the killer seemed to be sending a macabre message, using their own creative mediums to taunt the living. The second victim was Mark Collins, a talented musician known for his haunting compositions. He was found in his dimly lit recording studio, his body mutilated and arranged in a grotesque homage to a maestro conducting a sinister symphony. The word music was etched into the floorboards, as if written with a blood-soaked quill. Ravenwood was in a state of panic. Artists of all kinds began to flee the town, fearing they might be next. But for some, the lure of their creativity was too strong to resist, and they continued to hone their craft, despite the growing terror that had enveloped their lives. The third victim was Ava Reynolds, a young writer who had authored a series of best-selling horror novels. She had been found in her study, her own words echoing in her demise. The killer had bound her with pages torn from her own books, suffocating her with her own creativity. The word writing was spelled out in a pool of ink. Detective Walker was determined to crack the case. He delved into the lives of the victims, searching for any connection that might lead him to the murderer. The more he uncovered, the more he realized that there was a common thread. Each victim had recently received a mysterious package, containing a disturbing, macabre work of art, with no return address. As the investigation continued, the town's artists grew more paranoid. Some went into hiding, while others found themselves plagued by nightmares and visions that blurred the line between reality and the surreal. The artistic community, once the heart and soul of Ravenwood, was now a shadow of its former self. The fourth victim was Samuel Gray, a renowned sculptor. His lifeless body was found in his studio, his hands contorted into grotesque shapes as if sculpting his own death. The word sculpture had been carved into his flesh with chilling precision. With each murder, the killers seemed to revel in their gruesome artistry. The creativity that had once defined Ravenwood had become a curse, and the town's very essence had transformed into a nightmarish canvas for the murderer's sadistic desires. As the pressure mounted, Detective Walker received a cryptic message. It was an invitation to a midnight gathering at the abandoned Ravenwood Art Gallery. The note bore a mocking signature, the Artisan of Death. With no other leads, Walker decided to attend the gathering in the hopes of finally confronting the killer. The night was shrouded in darkness as Walker made his way to the gallery. The air was thick with tension, and the town's artists had gathered, each one apprehensive and fearful. The gallery was a haunting sight, the walls adorned with grotesque works of art inspired by the murders, and the floor covered in a labyrinth of cryptic symbols. As the clock struck midnight, the gallery's entrance slammed shut, trapping everyone inside. A spotlight illuminated a figure on a stage at the far end of the room. The Artisan of Death revealed themselves, dressed in a cloak of darkness, their face concealed by a grotesque mask. They gestured to the horrific artworks that adorned the walls, each one a testament to their sadistic creativity. The killers spoke, their voice a chilling whisper that echoed through the gallery. They revealed their motive, a twisted belief that true art could only be born from suffering and death. In their eyes, they were the curator of a nightmarish gallery, and the town's artists were their unwitting muses. The tension in the room was palpable, and the artists were paralyzed by fear. Walker knew that he had to act fast. As the killer continued their twisted monologue, he slipped through the shadows, his gun drawn. The gallery fell silent as he took aim and fired, the bullet striking the mask and shattering it. The killer's true identity was revealed. It was none other than Ava Reynolds, the writer who had been the third victim. She had faked her death and assumed the role of the artisan of death, driven by a deranged obsession with creating the ultimate masterpiece of horror. With the killer unmasked, chaos erupted in the gallery. The artists turned on Ava, the one who had terrorized their lives. They subdued her, and Walker apprehended her, bringing an end to the reign of terror that had plagued Ravenwood. As the town began to heal, the artists found solace in the catharsis of their work, channeling their experiences into their creations. The darkness that had once haunted Ravenwood was transformed into a haunting muse, a source of inspiration for those who had survived the nightmare. The town's artists continued to create, their work a testament to the indomitable spirit of creativity in the face of darkness. The legacy of the artisan of death would forever cast a shadow over Ravenwood, but it also served as a reminder that even in the most horrifying of circumstances, art had the power to endure and to heal.